There was a lawyer actually who went hunting down in the deep south of southern Texas, and when he was hunting, he saw a dot on the post, on the fence post, and he thought to himself, why not, right? And he shot that dot, and it fell on the other side of the fence. Now he jumped the fence to go get this dog, and while he was picking the dog up, he heard a voice behind him hollering, saying, "That's my dog, leave it." And he looked back and he saw a shaggy looking farmer and said, "I killed the dog, so it's mine." But the farmer said to him, "Well, that dog fell on my land and it's my dog because it fell on my land." Now the lawyer got so frustrated and irritated by this, and when he looked at him, he said, "I'm a well-known attorney in town, and I could sue you for your land and all you got if you don't let me have this dog." Well, the farmer said to the lawyer, "We don't do all that legal stuff here. What we do here, we could handle this in a very simple way. We have what we call the 3-kick rule. We take turns kicking each other 3 times, and the first person to give up loses." So the lawyer looked at the farmer, and seeing that he was a little guy, he thought he could take him and handle him easily. And trying to be fair, he said, "You know what? You go first." So the farmer, wearing his farming clothes with a hobnob shoe, jumped off his tractor, ran so fast, and hit the lawyer on his rib cage, gave him a hit again on his loin, and hit him hard on his head. Now the lawyer, down, tired and bleeding, shattered, stood up a little bit and said, "Okay, you know what? It's my turn now." The farmer said, "You know what? I give up. You can have the dog." That story, I guess you know who probably won the story. I mean, who won that argument? I would say the farmer did. I guess so. Would you agree with me? Yeah. So I want to first of all thank you guys for giving me your listening ears, and especially, I know you guys saw the resemblance. That's my dad, and I'd like to thank him for also giving me this opportunity to talk to you guys about success. And I'll be talking about, as I have it up there, the pursuit of a winning experience. Now, before I continue, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself, because at least you want to know who's talking to you. I'm into real estate sales, investments, and also management. I own my own property management company. And people ask me, how did I get into real estate? Well, just as most kids, right? Your parents tend to want to push you to do something, I guess, encourage you, as they will say. I want to encourage you to become like a doctor or an engineer, especially my mom. And when I enrolled into university, I enrolled into a psychology degree to go into med school in the future after my undergraduate studies. But I noticed something in my first year of university. I was more involved in the community service sector, basically organizing events, student community events, and leadership. It was my passion to interact with people, and I was doing way better in my social side than I was in my studies. Not to say I didn't do well in school, but I did better in my social side than I did in my studies. During the 3rd year of my university career, I now noticed that, you know what, I think this med school idea, maybe it's not just for me. I figured that most likely I would do better in business because I was interacting with people, and obviously in business, that's what you do. So I told myself that I would then go ahead after school to work for about 2 years, get my MBA, and then own my own business. During the last year of my university, I was watching a show on TV. I don't know if you guys know the show. It's called $1 Million Listings. Do you guys know the show? Yeah. So that time, it was actually shot in LA. Right now, it's being shot in New York City. But at that time, it was shot in LA, and it was just like these 3 young guys selling real estate and making good money. And I was looking at them, watching them, and I said to myself, what is it that they are doing that I can't do? I mean, I had this experience in school where I was leading people, interacting, and the basics of what they were doing was mundane to me because I could see myself doing what they did. So I told myself I will get my real estate license and do it part-time after school. Just part-time, not like I'll do it for a full-time job or anything. So right after my graduation, I was lucky to have my degree and my license at the same time. So as I had planned, I started looking for a job. And it was 2009. So you guys know that there was an economic downturn. It was hard to get a job. And for 4 months or so, I was looking and searching for jobs, but I wasn't able to get one. Now, I was still doing real estate part-time, so I was still going to the office, visiting and seeing what was happening in the real estate office. One day I went for a meeting. It was like a sales meeting. And there was a guy who came to talk to us, just like I'm talking to you right now. And he spoke to us about being able to do more than you can do. And this book, he actually mentioned something about this book, that if we could buy this book and read it and see what it had to say, we could probably learn something from it. Well, I was so inspired and I went ahead to buy the book. I read this book about 3 to 4 times a year. Actually, it's a very fast book to read. It's called U Square. And that was the day my life basically changed. I decided to go into real estate full-time. I remember meeting my parents and telling them, you know what, I think I want to go into real estate full-time. My mom was saying, you know what, this is not a good idea. It's a commission-based job. You're not guaranteed any income. I would suggest you go back to school, get your master's degree, and get a job like your other mates, and just go into the working force. My dad was more or less on the fence. He was more like the diplomatic person, He's like, you know what, it's a good idea if you want to go into it. It's a very necessary thing because everyone needs a house, right? So you probably would do well. But remember, it's a commission-based job. You're not guaranteed anything. You don't know for sure if you're going to make a certain amount. But just remember that we told you that, but you can go ahead and do it. Well, I went into it all full force. And my first full year in real estate, I made 20% more than the highest job I had applied for when I was applying for jobs. My second full year in real estate, I was now an award winner in my office and in Century 21 Canada. And the third year was even better. And this is my 4th full year in real estate. And I'm looking forward to probably becoming one of the top producers in my office. So I'm not telling you this story to impress you or boast. What am I telling you this story for? I'm trying to impress on you that success is available to anyone who wants it. If I were to ask you guys today, what does success mean to you? I know you guys have probably gone through it already a lot, but can anyone tell me what they think success means to them? Does anyone have an idea? Maybe you did it in your assignment. Can anyone say something about it? Just a quick line of what success means to them. I could volunteer someone if you don't raise your hand. Who can tell me something? Can you tell me what you think success means to you, Big Boss?
Success means get my education first and eventually get a proper job.
There you go. Now, I asked that question because if I were to now make everyone tell me what success means to them, it will be different for each and every person because we all have an idea of what success means to us. And thank you very much for volunteering to tell us that. And I want to focus on something different today. I want to focus on the feeling that we have when we're successful. Maybe you have a great mark in school, you do well with your relationship, or you do something that you thought you couldn't do. There's a feeling that is universal with everyone. I don't care if you're Bill Gates, I don't care if you're whatever it is. Like, everyone has a universal feeling of success. When you actually become successful in something that you wanted to do, that feeling is universal. I don't know if you guys remember Charlie Sheen. You guys remember Charlie Sheen? Yeah, the guy from 2.5 Men, and after he had a fallout with his employers, there was something he was known for. That word, I guess you guys probably saw it when I put it up there, right? It's called winning. And it was a very funny word, but this is the experience we all have, that winning experience. When you have something that you thought you couldn't have, or you do something that is way out of your reach, so you thought before, you have this winning feeling. And in life, we all want to be winners. Everybody has that wish and hope to become winners in whatever they do. And life is divided into different sectors. I think you can divide it how you want, but life is divided into your relationships. You want to become a winner in your relationships. Maybe personal relationship with friends, maybe with your romantic partner, or whoever it is. You want to have a great relationship and have a winning relationship with everyone that you meet. You want to have a winning experience in your finance. You want to become as, I would say, comfortable financially as you can, right? You want to have enough money so you don't have to borrow, beg, or ask people for money, right? You want to have also in your career, maybe as a student or if you work, you want to have that best career. You want to be the winning person, maybe the best employee, the best student. We all want that feeling in life. And also in our spiritual life. I know some people don't know if it's important, but that's something that even if you have the presence of it or the absence of it, you want to have the best feeling spiritually. Your health, you want to be the best in your health. You want to be healthy so that you live long enough to enjoy this life, right? And in your personal life, I don't know what it is that you have in your personal life, but you also want to have that successful feeling in your personal life. These are the areas that we all have in life. But you can't be successful in all of them at one time. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. It's just like the winners in the NHL. I don't know if any of you watch hockey. I'm not too much of a big fan of hockey, but I learned something this last season, right? The winners of the hockey league, the people who win the Stanley Cup, if you notice, do they win all the games they play? No. They actually win some of them and, well, we'll say most of them, and lose some of them. But at the end of the day, they are called champions, right? They actually refer to them as the champions because they actually won that trophy. Now, that's how life is. We have ups and downs in different areas. And when we talk about areas, as I said already, as I just pointed them out, these are the areas in our lives that we want to have the winning experiences. But to be happy, there's something that is important. And it has been said that happiness is the pursuit or the progressive pursuit of a worthy or worthwhile goal. So if you're going towards a worthwhile goal, you're going to become a happy person for the rest of your life. And what does that mean? In order to be successful in each of these areas, there are certain things you have to do. And it works for anything you want to do. I mean, I don't care if it's your schoolwork, as I said, your relationship, your finance. There are certain things you have to go through. 3 steps. And I want to go through those steps because it's important that we go through them, and hopefully you guys will take something home tonight or today, this morning, right? So the 3 things are these. You have to be able to see it. Secondly, you have to be able to believe it. And third, you have to be able to act on it. And what does that mean? Let me take your finance or your school as an example, because I guess you all are here studying and you are going to go home with grades at the end of the day. So for example, you come to this class and say, you know what, I want to get an 80%. I want to get an A. Now, for you to say that, you have already thought about it. You have to be able to see yourself getting that 80%. And it's something that we have that is so magnificent. And I would say, apart from the fact that we have what we call the universe and God, the next greatest thing that we have is our mind. We have that capability to visualize and see things that are able to become reality. Because if you look at the world today, everything that you see around you was once in someone's mind. I mean, these things that you see here, someone thought about it and then brought it out into reality by making it happen. And they all go through these steps. At first, people would think you're crazy because they would say, how do you think you can get an 80%? Because they know you from before. Maybe you weren't able to do that in the past. But you tell them, I want to get an 80% in this class. And you'll be like, wow, how do you think you're going to get an 80%? But the most important thing is, if you can visualize it, if you can see it, that's the first step. It's the most important part. Because you have that mind to be able to create something that would actually make it happen, would actually come into reality if you can start by seeing it. And secondly, you have to be, that's you seeing it, obviously, I didn't put that up. But secondly, you have to be able to believe it. Now, this is another important part. If you're able to visualize it, the next step is for you being able to believe that you have everything necessary to make whatever you have seen in your mind come out to reality. If you don't believe it, no one else will, because you are the one that would actually make it come to pass. If you don't believe it, who else can believe it? Say, for example, as I said, you wanted to have an 80% in this class. You have to now believe it in your heart that you can actually get an 80% in this class, right? And if you now believe it, guess what? Every other thing will work into your own path to make it happen. You will have some kind of, I guess, inspirational or something out of norm will come to pass that will make you capable of actually getting what you saw in your mind. The last step and the most important step is you being able to act on it. See, dreams don't work unless you do. Because the fact is, you can dream as much as you want to dream, you can believe as much as you want to believe, but if you can't act on it, it's not going to come into reality. If someone thought about making this whole paper hole, whatever, and kept on thinking about it forever, and never believed that he could make it, or even believed that he could make it, but never went to go make it happen, you guys wouldn't even see this today. If the guy who came up with the rocket, the idea of a rocket, was told that, you know, it's crazy, why is he trying this scientific thing that is like a child's play? And everybody in the scientific world said to him, you're crazy, stop what you're doing. If he stopped when he heard everybody's negative words, at that point, you would never hear about us going to the moon, right? You would never hear about the different scientific revolutions that happened because of that act of doing something that was out of the ordinary. Now, these 3 steps that I have mentioned are very important. I mean, if you do the 3 steps, you might not actually get the result at the first time. So the next important thing that I didn't put out here is persistence. If you don't actually persist, because sometimes you try the first time and it doesn't work out, right? You try the second time, it doesn't work out. If you back out, then you have actually failed. And failure is it only happens when you decide to stop trying. If you stop trying, say for example, again, I'm using your school or your class as an example. You said, I want to have an 80%, and in your first test, you have a 50%. Because you didn't probably practice well, or something happened in your family, or whatever. You had a 50%. So you tell yourself, you know what, this is it. I don't think I can get an 80, and I would stop. At that point is when you failed. If you give up at that point, that's when you actually failed. But if you tell yourself, this is just the start, I'm going to actually try my best to do better in the next test, I'm going to actually try my best to make sure that in my next exam, I get a 80% or a 70% to make my mark go up higher. And meet whoever you need to meet to make that happen, you're now becoming a success. And as I told you before, success is a progressive move towards a worthwhile goal. If you can write your goals down, if you can imagine it, believe it, and if you can act on it, you will definitely have whatever it is you're looking for in life. Most importantly, I want to say this, because there's something that stops everyone. There's something that stops everyone from getting what they want to get in life. And that is blame. Now, someone has explained what an adult or who an adult is. He said an adult is someone who takes 100% responsibility of their life. If you can't say to yourself that everything that happens to me is my responsibility, you will not actually achieve what you want to achieve in life. What does that mean? If you keep saying, oh, it's the economic downturn that's my problem, it's my mom's fault, my dad's fault, I should have done this, if not because of my husband or because of my boyfriend or because of my kids, I should have, I wish I could. All those excuses stop you from achieving what you want to achieve in life. Even if it's your education, if you get a 50 and you say, oh, I went to work and I couldn't do it, or I was sleeping and I had to sleep because I was tired and I couldn't do it, you're blaming something that is outside yourself. If you can take responsibility, there's a difference between responsibility and blame. Responsibility is you saying to yourself, I am in charge and I can make it happen. No matter what happens, I can make it possible. And blame is you putting yourself down and telling yourself, oh, I wish I could do it. I wish I could actually have that car, or I wish I could have that job. You wishing and not acting is blame. So it's most important that you don't blame no one and you tell yourself, because the first day you tell yourself that from today onwards, I'm responsible for my whole life, that's the day your success actually begins, because you would go far. And it's not even a joke. I mean, you would go so far, you wouldn't even believe it. I want to thank you guys for listening to me, but before I end my quick speech here, I'd like to say something very important. When I heard that speech that day from that guy who talked to us about being able to do more than we can do, we're about 15 or 16 people in that office. Now, remember, I was actually doing a part-time gig with real estate then, before I decided after that to go into full-time. When I look at the award list in my office, I don't see most of those guys' names. I mean, they're still working in real estate, they're making good money, but I don't see their names on that list. That's not to say I'm better off than them or anything, because I'm still working on myself. I'm still working towards goals that I hope to achieve in life. But what am I trying to say? Not everybody probably went home with a changed life that day, because not everybody acted on what they heard. Not everybody did something about what they heard. Maybe they never even went to search the internet for this book, or they never even thought about buying the book or reading it, or probably bought it but never read it. I don't know what happened, but not all of them achieved what I was able to get from that speech. And I'm talking to you guys today, and I know that unfortunately, maybe a couple of you, maybe 3 of you might have a totally different atmosphere from today onwards because you've heard me talk to you. The icing on the cake would be that everyone here takes something home tonight that becomes a difference in their life, something that would make them different starting on from today. Being able to see yourself and say to yourself, I can do it. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is in your life that you want to get, what it is that you think you can get. I mean, as I told you, you can't have everything all at once. It's a progress. I know things in my life that I'm still working on, and I was just taking a walk this morning, and I thought to myself, wow, like, I know there are certain things I'm still working on, and I know I'm going to get there because, as I said, I have those 3 steps going on in my mind every time, in every sector of my life, in my finance, in my career, in my personal life, with my relationships and everything. I'm working on it every day. And the only way you can be happy is by actually doing those things progressively every day to make yourself a better person and a success. Now, we're lucky to have the internet. We're lucky to have things that have made it even easier for us to assess things that would help you become successful. The YouTube channel is there. You can search on success and read on it every day. I mean, even if it's 5 minutes a day, you can buy books and read books. You can meet people who are doing things that are probably your own goals in life that you want to do, and ask them for help. These are the things that are available to you. The most important thing is you being able to persist and say, I want to learn, I want to do it, and I want to do everything possible to make it happen. It doesn't have anything to do with age. It doesn't have anything to do with race. It has a lot to do with your mindset. And I hope that today, by just listening to me talk about this short topic on success, that you go home with that mindset that I am capable of doing whatever, no matter what people say about me, no matter what people think I can't or can do, I am 100% capable of getting what I want in life. So thank you very much for listening to me. And I see that it's so early this morning, but you guys were all awake. And I want to thank you very much for this opportunity. So thanks a lot.